Electra-Woman and Dyna-Girl meet the wicked and deceitful Spider Lady.
The Spider Lady.
Yes, Crime Scope informs us she's smuggled her way into the country.
Oh, that's easy for her. Oh, she's a master of disguise.
Welcome to my parlor, Electra-Woman,
said the Spider Lady to the fly.
Electra-Woman and Dyna-Girl meet Spider Lady, whose disguises prove very deceiving for our super pair.
The Spider Lady.
Yes, Crime Scope informs us she's smuggled her way into the country.
Oh, that's easy for her. Oh, she's a master of disguise.
Welcome to my parlor, Electra-Woman,
said the Spider Lady to the fly. And the fly said to Spider Lady, your days of crime are over.
Back, my friends, to an all-new episode of the Batcave podcast. It's your old bat chum, John S. Drew here, and we're continuing our look at the 1976 Croft Super Show segment, Electra-Woman and Dyna-Girl. And when I say we, of course, I mean our own man with, you know, his crime scope ready to go, Frank Heflin himself from the Flopcast, Mr. Kevin Elddrige. Hey, Kevin.
Hey, John. Great to be back. It's the penultimate episode.
The penultimate.
If I may use such a fancy word for this Electra-Woman and Dyna-Girl episode.
Thank you, because not a lot of people don't know what the word penultimate means, or they use it incorrectly.
Well, here we go. There's only one left after this.
That's it. Yep. And for this penultimate episode, we're going to talk about the Spider Lady.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Yeah.
A little scary. I'm not a fan of spiders, I should say right up front.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. They creep me out.
So what? Because there is a point where she's working with live spiders and putting them into a container and stuff.
Yeah, well, I guess this is the reason. I mean, there's a tarantula in the opening credits of Electra-Woman every week. I don't like it.
No. Oh man, but I gotta say I like, you know, the look on her costume and such. It's an interesting design there, kind of taking a little bit from Spider-Man and Spider-Woman,
yeah,
you know, which I also thought was interesting. They don't call her Spider-Woman because I don't remember by 1976 if we had Spider-Woman yet.
Oh, that's actually, you know, we should have looked that up. I feel like this might have been a little before Spider-Woman started, but not by much. Spider-Woman, maybe 1978.
Right.
Because I feel like I've got the year 78 in my head for the launch of the Spider-Woman comic book and character.
Because I seem to remember that, you know, seeing in some quarters that like Spider-Woman, She-Hulk, a lot of these female-based characters were started by Marvel so that those who had the properties couldn't just spin off and say, okay, we're creating a She-Hulk, we're creating a Spider-Woman for the Nicholas Hammond TV show. Yeah, they wanted to make sure it's like, you want Spider-Woman, you're going to pay extra for that one too.
Yeah, a lot of the kind of spin-off characters, sure, it's about protecting the trademark, protecting the brand, and making sure that you own as many derivatives of your characters as you can. So yeah, Marvel, it occurred to Marvel, we have Spider-Man, we better make a Spider-Woman. Then eventually they did a Spider-Boy and a Spider-Girl and Spider whatever beyond that. Yeah, Spider Lady, I think, predates the Marvel Spider-Woman character, but I'm not sure. There's also a Web Woman cartoon
yes.
from Filmation.
Yes.
In this era, a couple of years after this, I think.
Let's see. Spider-Woman. First appearance, February 1977 in Marvel Spotlight number 32.
Okay. All right. So Spider Lady was first.
Spider Lady was first. But maybe they also just did it because they didn't want to hear anything from Marvel going, you can't do that.
Yeah, they certainly couldn't use a Spider-Man, but they made their Spider Lady. Although that said, yeah, the costume is certainly influenced, I would say, by the Spider-Man costume.
Mm-hmm.
It's red, and even the pattern of the black. Spider-Man's costume is usually it's red and sort of a bluish color usually, but it's black where the Spider-Man suit is usually blue. But in that a very similar pattern, and with the black spider logo even almost the same as on Spider-Man. And then they kept going a little crazy after that with the big wacky headpiece and whatnot. So they dressed her up above and beyond the basic Spider-Man suit as well, we should say.
Right.
And she looked great. They did some elaborate costumes for these villains. And going back to Empress of Evil had a similar look with a big fancy headpiece like this.
Mm-hmm. They give her the webbing too on under the arms.
Right.
Like Spider-Man does on his costume.
Yeah, yes. But yeah, sometimes Spider-Man has those weird arm web things and sometimes not. But they definitely went in that direction and then some for Spider Lady. But I thought she looked good.
Yes. Now, this story aired in two parts, as they all did, December 4th and 11th of 1976. And right off the bat, I got to ask, the country of baklava, isn't that a food?
I had some baklava just a few weeks ago. There's a Greek church nearby that had a bake sale, and we went over there and bought some baklava. But yeah, I was kind of thrown by that name, though, when they announced that we're visiting the embassy of the tiny country of baklava, because they didn't really do a lot of silly naming of things like that on Electra-Woman. Like that's the kind of thing they do on Monster Squad.
Right.
Everything has a goofy name.
Yeah. Makes you wonder that if this show had continued, it might have gone down an even sillier route.
They could have, sure, just keep getting sillier. I'd be okay with that.
Yeah. Because not only that, this country of baklava has in their embassy the shrine of the spider god.
It's just a big golden spider god statue or sculpture on display. Yeah, at the embassy. Yeah. Oddly, I don't know why. If this thing is so important, why would it not be in baklava itself? Apparently, it's in America at the embassy for some reason.
Right, exactly, yeah. And again, like the last episode, I like that we're seeing, Laurie and Judy, they're there trying to get, information and interview about the golden spider, which is on display at the embassy.
How long will the golden spider be on display? Is this the first time it's been out of baklava? This guy would be terrific, and I've got a secret. How much is the golden spider worth?
To those who believe, everything, more than life itself.
Wow. That much, huh?
I think I know what you can get me for my birthday, Laurie.
Something's up at Electra Base.
Sounds like trouble.
Trouble indeed, Judy. For the golden spider is not the only spider in the embassy.
Yeah, and they're asking their questions to a guy that is not a big talker.
No.
The monk, the baklavian, I don't know how you'd say that, monk, played by a guy named Andy Veneto, something like that, and had only one other credit I could find. He did a movie a couple years after this, and this is not a guy with a lot of acting credits.
No.
So kind of a mystery who he was and why he landed in this role. And I'm kind of surprised he doesn't have more credits because he has such a great look.
He does.
Yeah, such character in his face that you'd think that he'd be landing similar. Just you need a weird guy kind of a role. There were plenty of roles like that, and I'm surprised he didn't act more. Don't know what this guy's story is, but here he is. He's the monk.
Mm-hmm. And that only other movie, oddly enough, named Up Yours.
Right? Yeah, there's some kind of goofy comedy from 1979.
Yes.
I had never heard of this. I noticed that Cindy Morgan is in it. I'm a fan of hers from Caddyshack and from Tron, but I don't know anything about this movie.
No, me either. But I just thought just the name of it's like you almost think it's like almost put there as a goof or something. It's like, yeah, there's nothing else. Up yours.
what a pair of credits to have on IMDb. So good job, Andy.
Oh yeah. And interestingly enough, there's another reporter there with the two of them. I mean, I think it might have been a bit better if they'd actually, but I guess they didn't want to pay the money even for the extras. If they'd had a couple of more reporters and had this one sort of move off after, because it's a little too on the nose, as we quickly find out when she steps away, she reveals herself to be the Spider Lady in disguise.
Yeah, it's very strange to have to like if you go into this not knowing that this other reporter is secretly the Spider Lady. It's strange that we have 3 reporters there instead of 2, and that this woman has a speaking part, that she actually asks questions. So it's like, why would this third reporter even be part of this conversation? And then, of course, it's because it turns out she is our villain. I liked a line during questioning of the monk, since he really wasn't saying much of anything. And we got the line, "This guy would be terrific on I've Got a Secret." Yes.
Talk about dating the episode.
Well, yeah, I thought, wait a minute, isn't that's like a game show from the 50s and 60s? That's how I remember it, just seeing old black and white reruns, I've Got a Secret. And I looked it up, though. There was a short-lived revival version in 1976.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, hosted by Bill Cullen, who did a lot of game show hosting back then. Yeah, so it was strangely timely, that reference. I don't know how many kids watching this Saturday morning show were fans of I've Got a Secret, but that line somehow made it into the script.
Maybe that's the adult level, like in Batman 66, where it's like for the adults and the kids. Maybe that was their idea of, putting in the adult level of humor.
Yeah. Throw a little something in for mom and dad as they're walking through to refill your Lucky Charms.
There you go. What did you think of like the way she transforms? I mean, she takes a page right out of Wonder Woman.
It's the spin. She does the Linda Carter spin. Yeah, we get the maniacal laughing and transforming, and now this reporter turns into Spider Lady. Spider Lady played by Tiffany Bowling.
Yes.
Who I don't know too much about, but I have a few things here. And Tiffany is happily still alive. She's 75. She was one of the stars of a series I've heard of. I've never seen it. Show from 1969 called The New People, which sounds very interesting. It was like a group of young people were alone on an island and attempting to start a new civilization.
Ooh.
Yeah, which is interesting concept and for its time. But it's not a show that is very well remembered, and sounds really interesting, though. I wouldn't mind taking a look at that sometime. Tiffany did a bunch of movies through the 70s, a lot of B movies, drive-in movie kind of stuff, that kind of thing. And most notably, though, that the credit that really popped out at me was the following year, after playing the Spider Lady in 1976. The following year, she co-starred with William Shatner in Kingdom of the Spiders.
Okay, there you go.
So that was her thing.
That was her thing.
From one spider role to another.
Well, there's one other credit, because I just recently watched this because the movies and the TV series is on Tubi. She guest starred in the second Man from Atlantis movie. The Death Scouts. She plays one of the alien underwater creatures who they're trying to track down because they're just wandering aimlessly around the area there and hurting people unintentionally, but it's just their defense and such. And she's taken on the guise of a human being, a human that she sort of dragged to her death and then took over the body. It's an interesting thing, and she's in a wetsuit the whole time.
Sure. Very nice. Yeah, she had a lot of fun credits for Tiffany. Had a nice little career going back then in the 70s.
Yes.
But here she is Spider Lady, and she has henchmen.
she's got like not just a little sidekick on the side or anything like that. She's actually got henchmen right out of Batman.
It goes well, Spider Lady.
Beautifully, Spinner. The golden spider will be mine this day, and Electra-Woman will steal it for me. Come, we must set the traps.
These are pretty strong as far as hench people go on Electra-Woman and Dyna-Girl. She's got a pair of dudes working for her, and with spider-themed names. They are Spinner and Legs.
Yes. But do they say their names at any point in the episode?
They do briefly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have to really listen for it, but that they do subtly slip their names in here and there.
Because I do remember them saying, those are her spiders, which I thought was actually also a cool thing. It's not just like her goons or her thugs. Those are her spiders.
Yeah. Do you think she birthed them, hatched them out of a sack?
Who knows?
In her hammock. I like how she just lays around in a hammock, because I guess a hammock is sort of spider webbish enough.
Right.
So these two guys, Spinner was the big guy, the big bearded mustache guy, played by Bruce Fisher. Bruce did a bunch of movies and TV back then, did a couple of Clint Eastwood movies. He was in The Outlaw Josie Wales and in Escape from Alcatraz, and just a lot of fun shows the kind of stuff that we're into. Like he did a Mork and Mindy, a Buck Rogers, Fantasy Island, A-Team, Knight Rider, Dukes of Hazzard, Whiz Kids, right down the line. He popped up in all those kinds of shows. Probably he'd be one of those, you need a big bad guy, just like a guy to look scary as he's chasing you or whatever. He was that kind of actor back then. Also, I noticed he did 3 episodes of Days of Our Lives.
Yes. So
it's possible he would have interacted with Deirdre Hall over there. I'm not sure if those characters intersected, but he was on her long-running soap opera as well. Legs, meanwhile, that's Legs with 2 G's.
With 2 G's. You have to wonder, was that supposed to be, a play on the pantyhose?
That's right. I forgot. I spent my childhood watching commercials for pantyhose that come inside an egg.
Yes.
Are those still around?
I don't know.
Why was that such a big part of our society back then? I feel like all I did was see pantyhose commercials.
Well, it was. Then. Oh, you mean in general?
In general, yeah. And especially those legs that came in the little egg containers.
Gentlemen prefer legs.
Yeah, man. They sure did promote those things. I feel like those commercials were on constantly.
Well, women undergarments in general, the Crusher Heart Bra, there was an obsession with promoting women's undergarments.
Yeah. I mean, I don't watch commercials anymore. It's either everything's on Netflix or I'm just fast forwarding through them. But now I'm thinking, has this been a mistake? Maybe I should, because things are pretty fun back in the day. Legs, in this case, Legs with 2 G's, played by Robert Sutton. And this is just another character guy, I think, who had a lot of TV credits, also appeared on the A-Team, Rockford Files, did a Tales from the Dark Side, all that kind of stuff. Odd coincidence about these guys, Spinner and Legs, Bruce Fisher and Robert Sutton both died in 2018 at the age of 82.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so they had that in common all those years after this Electra-Woman part. But just a couple of wacky henchmen who were very active through this whole like they weren't just kind of lurking in the background. Like it really seemed like all 3 villains were practically equal in this thing.
Oh yeah, no, and they have dialogue, and I mean, there's only one little thing about them that was a little disappointing. We'll get into that as we go through the episode here, but yeah, you're right. They're pretty strong here in this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Laurie and Judy get a call from Frank. He needs them to come back to Electra Base, where this week's invention.
Oh no.
If there's one thing we can always depend on, it's that we can always depend on Frank to come up with some problem.
Right in the middle of an interesting assignment. Activate Electra-Change.
What's up, Frank? More fun and games?
Yes, this is, or this will be, the Electra-X. It's in its final stages of development.
Show us what it can do.
All right, if you'll just punch up the basic program with a variable 113-X grid on the crime scope computer.
There we go, Professor.
This should come in handy in the event you have to search a place in a hurry.
Talk about getting the inside scoop. Great gimmick for Halloween.
I still have to flesh out the details, but soon I'll have it in a micro-cylinder model to attach to your Electra-Coms.
Terrific. But you didn't bring us all the way back here just to show us this.
That's right. There was something else.
We're about to see a part of Frank we've never seen before.
Exactly. Well, thank God it's that part and not something else. Because he has it now. Did I get? Because I know that this was also something that tripped the Spider Lady up. The Electra-X.
The Electra-X.
Okay, good.
Yes,
I did get
that
it
is
right.
this
Okay.
week's new device to add to your comp.
Yes. Which is basically an X-ray device with a creepy demonstration from Frank.
That was astonishing. That was, check this out, ladies. And suddenly it's a skeleton. Frank, just as they're looking at him, it just looks like a skeleton is standing there, continuing to just casually speak with them in his normal voice. And their comments upon, it's an X-ray device, and but again, you can't think too hard on this because it makes no sense at all. Why would we suddenly just be seeing a skeleton? Like that they just grabbed a skeleton model from some science classroom somewhere and set it up in the studio.
Right.
To speak as Frank. But their reactions were Electra-Woman says, like, they just start cracking jokes. Electra-Woman goes, talk about getting the inside scoop. and Dyna Girl's response is, it's a great gimmick for Halloween.
Yes.
My response would have been to just shriek maniacally and freak out and run out of the room and never return. This is absolutely horrifying. But they were just mildly amused by a man suddenly turning into a skeleton.
Right. Well, when you've been to other dimensions, you've seen it all, I guess.
They've seen it all. Now they've really seen it all. They've seen Frank's walking, talking skeleton.
Right. Now, I gotta say, we talked about the Pharaoh last week and his hideout with the set design. I wasn't as impressed with Spider Ladies. I don't know why. It just didn't. It left me like the black background really became obvious this time.
Right. It was just all about the hammock.
Yeah,
the woman lounging on a hammock. That's your headquarters, essentially.
Right.
I did like, though, that they mentioned that her secret headquarters was the basement of the Baklava embassy.
Yes.
She was hiding directly under where the theft was going to happen.
And she's managed to design her hideouts. Or was this all their own? Actually, it is the temple of the spider god. Maybe this was their own holy relics and stuff that she just sort of shifted around and went, this will look nice here.
Yeah, that's true. She just took everything out of storage at the embassy to build her secret criminal hideout. Sure.
Right. Now there's a missing scene in that when we're introduced to her hideout. There's a missing scene because she's laying in that hammock. And what is she holding as she speaks to her two spiders? She's got a mandolin.
Yeah, or some kind of old-fashioned guitarish sort of. I don't know what you call that.
Right.
I'm not a musical expert like that. Yeah, I don't think it's a mandolin. It's one of those.
Okay.
I don't think so. It's one of those other kind of old-timey string instruments, which for some reason she's playing with.
Well, that's the thing. I can't help but feel that maybe we were supposed to get a song from her, and that got cut for time.
Oh, you're killing me! Now I really want Spider Lady to strum that thing and favor us with a tune. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, we need the DVD with the deleted scene.
Mm-hmm. This is an interesting one because we cut back and forth. It's like we're at Electra Base and we're introduced to the Electra-X. We cut to the hideout and she's speaking to her spiders and such. And then we cut back to Electra Base.
The Spider Lady.
Yes, Crimescope informs us she's smuggled away into the country.
Oh, that's easy for her. Oh, she's a master of disguise.
Isn't she the one who escaped with the crown jewels of Kowloon?
Right, disguised as the prince himself.
Electra, tricky.
Strange that she would arrive the same time as the Golden Spider.
Do you think...
Right. Maybe not so strange. Come on, Dinah girl, we're going back to the embassy.
Maybe she was disguised as Prince the singer. I can see a resemblance there. Maybe that's how she pulled that off.
Yeah, and wearing that outfit.
Yes. Yeah.
Or a purple version. So Electra-Woman and Dinah Girl go to the embassy.
Arriving at the embassy, our heroines cautiously approach the entrance.
They immediately encounter the two spiders. And I did like this. They split up. Electra-Woman chases after Legs and Dinah Girl goes after the big one. I gotta say, that's kind of cool.
They kind of crossed each other's path to go after them. Like they pointed to like Dinah Girl like points to Spinner. I get them confused, but like she goes after the one that was closer to Electra-Woman. Like they kind of switched.
Right. Yeah, that was Spinner. Yeah,
to begin the chase. Yeah, oddly.
Yep.
Also, I liked how when they first arrived there, though, before they went through that door and found Spinner and Legs, they used their Electrocomp to scan.
Yes,
and they saw they could see the image of two human figures through the door. Mm-hmm. Like, oh yeah, there's two people there. They're probably here for us, and then they go in.
And I also did like how, because they, as I say, they go after the two of them. You think this is setting up for Dinah Girl to become girl hostage or girl trouble, or because that's often what happens with that. But no, it's Electra-Woman who gets caught. She runs into a giant web.
Yeah, Dinah Girl has no trouble capturing. Which
Spinner.
One is it? Spinner. Yes, the big guy is Spinner. Yeah, Dinah Girl captures Spinner with the Electra shield, so those little dots pop up on the screen, and then that's it. She just stands there with Spinner for a good chunk of the episode. They keep cutting back like several minutes later. She's still just standing there with a Spinner captured in the Electra shield. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, Electra-Woman is chasing Legs.
Yes. Yeah. And I thought this interesting. I guess maybe it was because Spider Lady wanted to lure her, because she and Legs run off and Electra-Woman gets herself out by, using the Electrocomp to make the web disappear and such. And then she chases her into the lair.
Yep.
Yeah.
The web, that net. I love the giant net that drops on Electra-Woman, because this was another one of those kind of goofy tropes of the time. I feel like when I was a kid, nets were constantly dropping on top of people on TV, mm-hmm. and it would just stop them. They would just mm-hmm. be pinned and unable to get out. And every time that happened, just watching it as a kid, I'd be like, I could get out of that. It looks like you could just very simply remove the net. But on TV, it worked. A net will stop anybody.
That's funny. I never really thought, but you're right. That's another, whether, because we always point out, quicksand, or even, dare I say it, bondage, like those were tropes of the 60s and 70s television, tying people up. And
based on what we grew up watching, it should have been every time you walk out your door. Yeah. I mean, I don't know whether to look down or look up. I'm either going to sink into quicksand or the Planet of the Apes are about to throw a net over me from above.
Oh yeah, no, I got to remember that one now for future viewing. It's like, okay, there's the net.
Yep.
Oh man. So she's caught by the Spider Lady. And again, this is another one of these ones that's weirdly edited, because it's like one moment she seems to have the drop, and then the next moment Spider Lady's holding on to the Electrocomp and using it to basically put the shield around Electra-Woman with the dots and everything,
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know. That was a little sketchy.
There's so many just effects and the comps and the shields, and they're always throwing so much technology and laser effects and video effects around that. Yeah, it all kind of. I like that. Just the big red glow mm-hmm. appeared to make the net disappear.
Yes,
so many visual effects like that.
Yeah. Now. She's got, though, and now we see how she's able to make these transformations. She's got this device. I forget what it's called. I don't know if you call it
the Zero Graph. Zerograph.
The Zerograph.
Yeah, which I guess would have been based on the Xerox machines.
Right.
In theory. That thing looked good, though. That was a good-looking device. So I think what money they saved on Spider Lady's lair, perhaps they put into building this duplicator device, because I thought it looked cool.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no, absolutely. And she uses it to basically transform her into Electra-Woman.
Yeah. She duplicates Electra-Woman, and here's where we have a fun acting credit coming up.
Yes.
Because speaking of TV tropes of the 60s and 70s, how often did we get a look-alike?
Yes.
Quite often.
Quite often. Oh, yeah.
Suddenly there's two of somebody. Oh, it turns out I have an exact duplicate. Turns out I have a long-lost twin, or I have an evil twin, or an evil robot duplicate version that happened all the time.
Sure.
You know, Janet Jackson was on the Love Boat working with an evil robot version of Isaac the bartender. that kind of thing happened a lot. Suddenly there's two Peter Bradys.
Yes.
Just happened to run into a kid at high school that looks exactly like me. That kind of thing would, and when it happens, they would have to get clever with how do you shoot that, because now we have to use our actor in two different roles. And there's the typical, you see the back of the person's head while the other person is facing forward, so you can just have a stand-in whose hair looks the same from the back. That's the typical way to do it. Or you do like the awkward split screen where here's Peter Brady standing next to Peter Brady, which they made work by, putting two shots together. Here, oh, hey, this looks great. That really looks like two Electra-Womans with no special effects needed. And of course, there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
Which is, isn't it convenient when the star of your show has a twin sister?
So she was a twin. I didn't see that. I just saw a sibling when I was looking it up. So she's a twin. Wow.
I believe that's her actual twin.
Yeah.
Yes. That's Andrea Hall.
Yes.
Deirdre Hall's twin sister. So Andrea has done a little bit of acting over the years, almost always in conjunction with a Deirdre Hall project. So I think she's done some production work and other kinds of things. She's certainly not been an actress full time, but she's worked on Days of Our Lives quite a bit. I don't know anything about Days of Our Lives, and that's the soap that Deirdre Hall has worked on forever. Andrea has appeared in almost a couple of hundred episodes, I think, over the years. I don't know what she did, if it was an evil twin or what the concept was, but she's worked with her sister here and there over the years. So what a perfect effect to have on this show, that your star has a twin sister, and now we can have an evil twin.
Right.
With zero special effects budget needed. All we need is another Electra-Woman costume.
It's like, what was it? I forget his name. Clevant from Sliders. Rembrandt Brown. The actor who plays him on Sliders, he has a twin brother. So there were a couple of times when they would do the alternate Rembrandt, and it was the brother who would play him rather than bothering with split screens or anything like that. Sure. Yeah, I liked that. that.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, about this transformation is that, because Electra-Woman's like, you're not going to fool anybody with this. And she's like, oh, no, this thing is so perfect. I now know your mannerisms. I know. All right. She never says anything about knowledge of you. And that's okay. That's fine. All right. It doesn't seem to transplant the memories. Fine. But she says the mannerisms. And the thing is, almost immediately when our, faux Electra-Woman meets up with Dyna Girl, she's already not making much of an effort to act like Electra-Woman. It's almost like she's struggling to be like Electra-Woman rather than having it come naturally to her. And of course, Dyna Girl, God love her, she doesn't pay any attention, even when Electra-Woman says, "Go get the car."
That was really fun. I love this plot point of the mistakes that and the clues that would come out of Spider Lady trying to act like Electra-Woman, including Dyna Girl. Dyna Girl says, "You never let me drive." Suddenly, she wants Dyna Girl to drive, and well, for one thing, she probably doesn't know how to operate the Electra car because it's not a normal vehicle.
Right.
And also, she doesn't know how to drive to, like, where are they going to go? She probably doesn't know how to drive to the location, to the Electra base.
Exactly, yeah.
So she certainly needs Dyna-Girl to do the driving,
Mhm.
even though it turns out apparently Electra-Woman normally does all the driving.
And that's the thing. She goes, "You never let me." And I'm thinking, you're a grown woman. I know we're calling you Dyna-Girl, but you're a grown woman. You work for a major national magazine and everything. What do you mean she doesn't let you drive?
Yeah.
This isn't Robin,
Yeah, that's a good point. Dyna-Girl is an adult as far as we can tell. It's not a ward, a minor like Robin was.
Right.
But yeah, they were friends. They were co-workers in theory. But yeah, I guess if we know who the boss is, though, she still has to take her orders from Electra-Woman, who says, "You're riding shotgun, kid. I'm driving."
Oh, so they drive off, but meanwhile, there's Electra-Woman still, held in place by the Electra shield, and she's basically left a bunch of spiders that she's let out of their glass case. And that's what I was saying before. She was holding them. This wasn't even anything subtle where it's like, okay, we'll put the fake ones. She's grabbing them up, the spider lady, from their container, putting them into the smaller one. I was like, that's damn impressive. I know she's got gloves on, but I would be skeeved by that.
These are real tarantulas, and there were 4 or 5 of them in that tank, a bunch of tarantulas. Now, that said, they shot it very cleverly, and I don't think there were any shots where you actually see the actual actors handling the spiders. It was a close-up of the glove going into the tank where you don't see the face, and even when the spiders start crawling on Electra-Woman's boots, you just see the boots.
Right.
You don't see Deirdre Hall there. So I don't think the actresses actually had to come in direct contact with the tarantulas, which is nice, unless they wanted to. Although that said, Tiffany Bowling, again, a year later, she was in Kingdom of the Spiders, which was all live spiders all the time. So hopefully she was cool with it.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And I like that because it's like, that's how we come to the end of the first part and cut away for a week. Is that Electra-Woman's got the spiders advancing on her, and she's left her own spiders there, Legs and Spinner, to keep an eye on things.
Yeah. This is our episode break when this was originally a 2-parter on the Croft Super Show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Your duplication was perfect. Not for one moment did you suspect that you were not Electra-Woman.
And are you really going to try to enter Electra Base?
I will enter Electra Base, and I will destroy Crime Scope. And then I will steal the Golden Spider Idol without any interference from our meddling friends. It will be my greatest triumph.
As the unsuspecting Dyna-Girl races toward Electra Base with the cunningly disguised Spider Lady. The spiders are moving ever closer to their prey. Will our superheroine manage to escape the Spider Lady's trap? Tune in next week for the answer.
Wednesday, no street is safe for the Bionic Woman in the conclusion of Jamie Shield. Then,
To the fat.
Beretta jumps a fat cat that bites back. And Charlie's Angels roll into a death derby. Right after the Bionic Woman and Beretta.
Tomorrow, starting at 8, 7 Central in Mountain on ABC.
Funny. I felt strange driving an electric car before. But now that you're driving, I still feel...
Yes?
Electra-Woman and Dyna-Girl face the mistress of disguise and cunning, Spider Lady.
Electra-Woman!
Stay tuned.
I'm Ron Howard.
And I'm Donnie Monk.
We're wishing you holiday greetings from all of us on Happy Days.
The Wonder Woman leads off the action and meets the Falcon, whose secret weapon is earthquakes. Then Starsky and Hutch collar a tough and troubled 12-year-old bandit. And the most wanted is a beautiful face hiding the heart of a murderess. Right after Wonder Woman and Starsky and Hutch.
Saturday on ABC.
Next, Electra-Woman and Dyna-Girl meet the evil Spider Lady and her zero-graph machine.
It will be too late.
It's not over yet. There's still Crime Scope.
Crime Scope has been invaded, and Heflin's in trouble. Stay tuned.
Sabotage? But who could have gotten to Crime Scope?
Dyna-Girl unknowingly brings Spider Lady to Electra Base.
Hi, Frank.
Hello there. Hello. You all right, Electra-Woman?
Yes. Yes, I have the strangest feeling that the Electra Base might be in trouble.
Electra Base?
No way. Oh, right. I guess it is invulnerable. The Electric X, Frank, is it ready yet?
You mean Electra X? Yes, ready and right here in this micro cylinder. Now you just insert this into your electrocoms. Then push up the basic sequence with the variable 113 minus X grid.
The basic sequence. Right, yeah. I'll just... Oh, I'm sorry. I am really butterfingers.
Watch where you step. Don't step on it, whatever you do.
Maybe it rolled over here behind the Crime Scope.
And so it seems that Spider Lady's plan is going much too well as she plants her destructive spider device behind Crime Scope.
Yeah, this is fun. It's really fun. Again, seeing this is not really Electra-Woman. I assume this is all Deirdre Hall and not Andrea. I would assume they only used Andrea in the shots where they needed two of them on the screen together.
Right.
So I believe we're seeing Deirdre, whether she's playing real Electra-Woman or fake Electra-Woman. I'm pretty sure it's Deirdre, unless we need to see them both at the same time. But yeah, she was having fun with this. You can tell she's not really Electra-Woman just by the way she was acting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this is where it really becomes more obvious. I mentioned it last episode. There were a couple of quick references to Frank as the professor, but there's several times here in this whole exchange in Electra Base where it's like Professor Heflin. I'm like, what happened to Frank? What happened to Frank?
Yeah, so somewhere around episode 6, he started insisting, I would like to be the professor.
Damn it, use my title.
Show a little respect.
Oh, yeah. And the Spider Lady, uses this opportunity to plant a device that's going to explode eventually and damage Crime Scope. And she also... Well, she tries to. I mean, she doesn't. I thought for a moment she was going to step on it because he's managed to have the Electra X ready to insert into the Electrocomps, and I did love that whole bit there where he's like, because he uses all that numbers jargon and stuff. He goes, but with the XY ratio and all that, and she's just, huh?
I always like the pop culture references as well. I've got a secret earlier, and this time Dyna-Girl, just having fun, points the Electra X at fake Electra-Woman and says, smile, you're on Candid. And
Camera.
then Spider Lady cuts her off. Like, oh, no, don't. Don't point that thing at me. I also like that explosive device that she plants on Crime Scope, though. I like that it's shaped like a little spider with a little spinning thing on it. Like, you got to stay on brand.
Yes.
Planting an explosive, but it has to be a spider-shaped explosive.
Yep, exactly, yeah. We get back to our death trap there for Electra-Woman as Legs and Spinner, they're just taunting away at her and such that she's not getting out. I don't know, just because we're so used to like, okay, we've got to go and do our crime. We'll leave you to this, whether it's here or Batman 66. No, we've left people there. And not only that, they're just they're making fun of her.
Just hanging out. Their job is just stand around. Which I like the cleverness of how she gets out of that. Which is if you destroy Crime Scope or take Crime Scope out of commission, that's what was powering the Electra shield that was holding Electra-Woman in place.
Yes.
So you shut that down. You've also freed Electra-Woman.
You freed Electra-Woman, and then you think, okay, here we go. Here's Electra-Woman. She doesn't have an Electra-Comp. These are two men. There's going to be a fight. This is where I was a little disappointed. It's like you give us the henchmen, you dress them up. I mean, they're in these outfits and everything. We've got a great theme going here. And what happens? The two are like, hey, she's still Electra-Woman. Even if let's get out of here. Let the Spider Lady deal with her. I mean, run off.
I like that. I like a couple of guys that are just thinking, what are we doing? Just get out of here.
Just get out of here. Oh, man. Now, meanwhile, Spider Lady and Dyna Girl get back to the embassy, and the Spider Lady's like, you wait out here and just, you keep your Electra X ready to go there in case, anybody comes along. You can see if they're the Spider Lady or not, which makes sense. I'll give her that one.
Yep. Yeah, this is the time where we get Dyna Girl finally putting everything together.
What's up, Frank?
It's Crime Scope. We've been sabotaged. I think we're going to lose
Power! Sabotage? But who could have gotten to Crime Scope?
I think we better head back to Electra-Base.
But you said we should keep our eye on the Golden Spider.
The Electric X, Frank, is it ready?
You mean Electra-X?
Oh, Electra, wow! No wonder Electra-Woman has been acting so strange. She's got to be the Spider Lady in disguise. But what has she done with Electra-Woman?
And then we get this whole thing because Spider Lady goes to our monk and manages to convince him to let her move the golden spider because the Spider Lady might steal it and such. And she's running off with it. She runs into Dyna Girl, and of course Dyna Girl's like, I'm on to you.
Yeah, now we're getting that inevitable confrontation. We're going to have real Electra-Woman and fake Electra-Woman. And again, what we so often on shows like this where you have the double, there's always that moment where the other character can't tell which one is the real and which one is the fake. and we get that here. Suddenly you get Dyna Girl in the middle, all confused, looking back and forth. That's a classic moment.
The thing is, why is she confused? She just confronted the one holding the spider, the golden spider. It's like, what are you doing? And now you're confused? I could see if maybe she put it down a moment or something.
Yeah, that is true. She should have been able to keep them straight in that moment. But no, as soon as she saw two Electra-Women, it was, I don't know. Which one's real? Which one's not? And then I like that she starts asking, like, tell me Frank's middle name.
Yes.
That's how I'll know who the real Electra-Woman is. Also, something to look at in this scene, I noticed, I believe it's Andrea Hall, the twin sister in this scene, is playing the real Electra-Woman. She's the one all the way to the right on the screen. Because if you watch that, as Dyna Girl is asking about Frank's middle name, watch her eyes. Watch Andrea's eyes. Her eyes drift off to the side a couple of times. Like, I think it almost looked like she's distracted by something off camera that has nothing to do with the story. It happens a couple of times in that shot, and that's what makes me think that must be Andrea over there, who's not an actor on the level of Deirdre. I think she was probably very new to doing this kind of thing.
Sure.
And she wasn't that trained, and you got to keep your eyes locked on where you're supposed to be looking in this scene.
Right.
So it's kind of a little tell that you're not looking at a full-time professional actor in that scene. I thought that was that kind of a fun moment to watch for. You can watch her eyes drift off a couple of times. But it's so subtle, it's so quick that nobody cared. I don't think anybody in production was. Obviously, they were fine with it. They used the take, but something to watch for.
I'll have to take a look. That's really interesting. Wow. Yeah, they probably didn't because they're like, it's 1976. Who's going to notice?
Oh, yeah. We're watching on our little tiny lousy TV sets. No one's going to see which way Electra-Woman's eyes drift off to the side very briefly a couple of times. but I noticed rewatching it for this discussion, and I like that. It's not a problem. It's just kind of a little fun thing to look for.
And that makes sense, because if your theory that it's like, okay, because she's not the actress, at least not to the level of Deirdre Hall and such, because what do we get then? What I consider a tour de force, as Deirdre Hall loses it as the Spider Lady, because everything's falling apart and she just starts freaking out.
Yeah.
How did you manage to knock out Crime Scope?
Look, we're wasting time. Now, we've got to get out of here. Put down the idols, Spider Lady.
Electra-Woman! Electra-Woman?
It's me, Dinah Girl.
But she said she was.
A fantastic zero-graph machine, Dinah Girl. Worthy of our own Professor Heflin.
No, Dinah Girl. No, I am Electra-Woman. Look at me. Look at me closely. Electra, wow. I just don't know.
Give up, Spider Lady. You made your mistake when you knocked out Crime Scope.
This is ridiculous. Electra ridiculous. If you really are Electra-Woman, what's Frank's middle name?
All right, Spider Lady. Okay, Dinah Girl. Frank's middle name is...
What's going on?
It looks like the masquerade is over.
Electra, wow!
What a fun scene.
Yeah. So she races off as Frank then gets back online, has Crime Scope up and running, but with limited power.
I like how when she, after the jig is up, she transforms back into Spider Lady. She does the spin, transforms back, and then she has the golden spider, and she runs out of the room. And meanwhile, Electra-Woman and Dinah Girl are just standing there.
Well, that's the funny part. They do that now throughout it kind of prolongs this story that should have been a lot faster, because then they finally get it together and run after her, and they run into the old woman. They round the corner and stop, and they're like, it's in disguise. And instead of turning around and just running, they both comment about how stupid they were or something. It's like, okay, we get it. Go get her.
So so Spider Lady, of course, who is a master of disguise, we've established. Now she's an old lady. With she's got the spider god statue thing just bundled up in a bundle. So it's an old lady shuffling along with a bundle, who, our heroes just run right past. But Dinah Girl really slams into her. Like she body checks this old lady like it's in the NHL, and then stops and apologizes, still not realizing that it's an old lady. But wow, what a hit she put on what she genuinely thought was just an innocent old lady. Like, Dinah Girl should really watch where she's going.
Well, if Dinah Girl is like Robin, she's just a bundle of energy that sometimes it's hard to contain. That was Robin, too, in the 66 series.
But Dinah Girl does comment that they were Electra dumb.
Yes.
In that moment.
Yep. And now that she's caught there, she, transforms again. She leaves the spider statue thing behind and races to the roof of the embassy. So of course
she's heading for the roof.
Electra-Woman and Dinah Girl go after her by degravitating up to the roof.
Going up, ladies' clothing, housewares, rooftops, and
Spider Ladies.
Caught you in your own web of villainy.
Again, that they get in the kind of cute, silly comments as they're rising up through the air. They say, like, going up, ladies' clothing, housewares.
I like that.
Rooftops and Spider Ladies.
Yeah. They give Judy Strangis a lot of the good lines.
Absolutely. She has so much fun through this whole series. She gets to be the one making the little cute, witty jokes and comments. I always enjoy Dinah Girl's dialogue through these shows.
Mm-hmm. And once they get on the roof, it's just a matter of, hitting her with the Electra shield, I think it was. And,
Yep.
And it's like, we got you.
That's it. Then we just cut to the very strange cover of Newsmakers magazine.
Yes.
Showing a woman in a prison outfit behind bars. That's your cover.
That whole ending, I don't know why, but that whole ending, all of a sudden, I started thinking of the Spider-Man shorts on the Electric Company. Like I expected all of a sudden the Spider-Man music to kick in.
Spider-Man, where are you coming from, Spider-Man? Nobody knows who you are.
That was even as Electra-Woman ending moments go, this one was particularly goofy.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is fine.
Yeah. Nope. Absolutely. It's fine. So let me ask you, anything else in this episode we didn't cover?
I do have one other thing about this episode.
Okay.
One thing over the course of these Electra-Woman, Dyna Girl review shows that we've done, John, we haven't really touched on is the merchandising of this show. Mm-hmm. There were things made. There were products, toys, and whatnot available connected to Electra-Woman and Dyna Girl. A lot of the usual stuff. I think there was some kind of a puzzle game or something. That there was there's a Croft Super Show lunchbox, which they are featured prominently on. Halloween mask. You get one of those, Ben Cooper style, those department store with the stiff head thing. Halloween mask.
And the vacant eyes.
Yeah. The creepy dead eyes and that weird kind of vinyl smock with a picture of Electra-Woman on it.
Yes.
You could get one of those. So there were not a ton of merchandise, but there were a few things like that were made. And I have one Electra-Woman and Dyna Girl bit of merchandise. Just one, but it is directly related to this episode. So I've been holding back all these years, waiting for this episode to come along. But what I have here, John, is I have the Electra-Woman and Dyna Girl Viewmaster set.
Oh, nice.
They made Viewmaster reels of this specific episode. It's the Spider Lady episode in Viewmaster form.
I did not know there was a Viewmaster. Now you've given me something to look for.
Yeah, I'm not a big Viewmaster guy. I only own a handful of Viewmaster sets, but this is one of them, and this is one I was very happy to get my hands on. So yeah, there's 3 reels. It's 3 discs of Electra. I have my Viewmaster right here. I could watch this show in Viewmaster form right now. John and I are on video. This is an audio show, so only John can see this, but I have a Viewmaster right here to see this. The other fun thing, though, is it comes with a little booklet.
Yes.
Which kind of takes you through each slide of the Viewmaster. There's like a little paragraph that goes into more detail about what's happening in the story than that little tiny blurb you get on the disc itself. So there's a little booklet here, but also in the booklet, there's 3 like little bonus activities. There's a maze page. There's a page called the Gold Idol Game, in which you have Electra-Woman run through a little maze to get to an idol. It's not the spider idol. It's more like a little human statue thing, strangely. And then there's a Spider Lady is in the maze as well, also trying to get to the idol. There's also there's 2 little pictures of Electra-Woman, and it says, which is the real Electra-Woman?
Oh, wow. Nice. Yeah.
And on the back, they reveal which one is real. You have to watch for some subtle flaw in the costume to figure out which one is the fake. And then best of all, there's a connect the dots in this where you can draw your own tarantula. So that is my Spider Lady merchandise.
Wow. I have some myself, and I have a Viewmaster to watch. I even have one talking reel Viewmaster from the $6 Million Man.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's just basically a narrator narrating what's on those slides. It doesn't go into any other detail, but it was cute.
Yeah.
But what's sad is because you point out the book. And, starting in the 90s, Viewmaster kind of streamlined their packaging, and they just put the 3 reels on a thing that hung from, it wasn't like there was no book, there was no activities, there was no further like details on the story. All you got was your 3 reels and your little wording on each one, and that was it. And I'm thinking you missed a beat by streamlining the process. You took away the art of this, I thought,
Yeah, in the 70s, we could connect the dots and draw a tarantula.
Exactly.
Can't do that in the 90s.
No, not at all.
One of the only other Viewmaster sets that I have that would also be of interest to you, though, John, I've got the Secrets of Isis Viewmaster, too.
Yeah, that's another one I need to get my hands on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff. These are so fun.
Yeah.
Well, so there you go. You can watch Spider Lady in a weird 3D projected image version.
3D I don't know. There's another reason now to get it. Okay, so then let me ask you, we come to the end of this, and like we like to do, how would you sum this up like Dinah Girl would with an Electra superlative?
Yeah, not to sound negative, because I love this episode, but again, I'm not a fan of spiders, and so with all those live tarantulas creeping around, I'm going to have to say this was electric creepy.
So that really bugged you with the spiders, seeing them and such.
They're fine on TV.
As long as they stay there, right?
I'd rather not. I don't want to be captured by Spinner and Legs and have them start setting them up to crawl all over my boots while I'm trapped in the duplicator ray.
Mm-hmm.
No thanks. But yeah, it's fine as long as it's on the Croft Super Show.
Right. I'll tell you, here's the thing. I love this episode. I have no problems with it at all. I think it was just a lot of fun. There's even that part of me that's like, it's a shame because this is the penultimate episode. We're not going to get a return of the Spider Lady story here. As we know, we're getting the return of the Pharaoh next time. But I can't for the life of me come up with something to sum it up this time without it sounding cliche, like, Electra Tarantula, Electra webbing. I don't know, but it's just, they all just sound cliched, and it doesn't really do service to what was a fun episode.
It was a really fun episode. Absolutely. Yeah. And Spider Lady looked great. It was such a fun costume. The henchmen were so funny and such a big part of the whole thing. And on top of all that, to get twin Electra-Woman, actual real life twin Electra-Woman from Andrea Hall. What a fun show.
Exactly. Yep. So as we come to the end here of this episode, Kevin, just fill us in here with the Flopcast and your little corner of the universe there with your podcast.
Yeah, my regular podcast is the Flopcast, part of the ESO network, and it's Cornflake, my wonderful co-host, and I just being as silly as we can every week. It's a lot of nerd, geek kind of talk, a lot of pop culture fun, just looking back at stuff from the 70s and 80s. And I've been doing it for 10 years. We show no signs of stopping because this is the only thing keeping us out of trouble. Keep us off the streets, We are at flopcast.net.
Yes. Yep. And I got to say, I loved your recent episode. You kept it simple. Which actually worked in its favor, the flop fight with the 90s music.
Yeah, we do a lot of what we call flop fights, which are tournament-style discussions on various subjects. We did a Brat Pack flop fight in which we discussed the merits of all the members of the Brat Pack. And we do things like that quite a bit. Yeah, we did some 90s music talk recently. We just do a whole new silly show like that every week.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
Please join us. It's very silly, very fun.
Yes, it is. Absolutely, it is indeed. I enjoy it and look forward to it every Sunday.
Thank you so much.
And again, folks, you can find that either through your popular podcatchers there or at flopcast.net, as Kevin said.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, then. So this was penultimate, which means we've got one more episode. We're almost there, Kevin.
One more episode of
next year. No,
Electra-Woman Classic. We have one more episode of, and then maybe a little bonus content after that.
Correct. Yep. The return of the Pharaoh, Peter Mark Richmond. So I get it right this time.
Got it.
Yeah, looking forward to that because we enjoyed talking about him the first time around.
Absolutely.
Yep. So, folks, stay tuned. We will be back also real soon. Jim Beard and I once again doing another episode of the 1949 Batman serial. We're getting into the middle of it here at this point now along, and so far, Jim and I are actually finding this Batman to be a better one than the 1943 one in terms of not so much appearance, 43 got the better costume, but 49 has the better actor.
Nice.
No offense to you there, because I know Kevin, you're like in the Boston area there. Our 1943 Batman had a thick Boston accent.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
I like
Robin,
that.
go get the car.
Old school Boston Batman.
Yes.
Crazy. I love it.
Yeah, it just took away from it there a little bit, but yeah. So until then, folks, thank you so much for listening. Once again, Kevin, everyone, take care.
Isn't that terrific, Heflin? We made the cover story on Newsmakers. And how about that prison uniform? That's the Spider Lady's best disguise of all.
Let me see that. Spider Lady captured by superheroines. Superheroines. Anyone we know?
Why, Frank, you made it funny.
King Tut's pyramid and the Coptic eye, both within my grasp.
Next week, Electra-Woman and Dyna-Girl face the wicked Pharaoh, whose plan for ruling the world is really diabolical. Don't miss it.